I will try to introduce them correctly and then join them in this panel. And if you have questions, I'll be also happy to take them. Domen, Savič. I will try to introduce them from here. I will start here with my editor-in-chief. Mirko Štular is editor-in-chief of Val 202, is my newsroom, and this is a part of Radio Slovenia, Channel 2. And Domen Savič, he was a journalist, and now he's assistant professor of the Department of Media at Faculty for Humanistic Studies in Koper and co-editor of E-Demokracija. And also he's employed at Innovatif. There's some innovation there. And Lenart Kučić is a journalist at Delo, had spent some time in Great Britain and knows British media probably the best in this room. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending this panel. I will start. I will please allow me a few seconds so I can move and perhaps take some water. Well, first of all, we do have, our time is limited. We do have around 30 minutes, which is not a lot when journalists are speaking. So I will try to be as provocative as possible and ask all of you, please give me your examples of innovation in Slovenian media. I do have a list of my own, but I would like you to make it a bit longer, or and actually answer to the question whether Slovenian media is innovative in a sense or is it just copy-paste technology. And where do we start with Lenart, perhaps on the first right? So innovation in Slovenian media, perhaps at the Delo. Well, there's a good example.
Thank you for putting me into this position to start with, because my opinion about how innovative Slovenian journalism is not really great, because we've been lagging behind in a way. We've been trying to find some good practices. Sometimes we found them from the States or from some other European places, and we tried to introduce them into our own environment, but mostly we failed for a very simple reason, because technology is never something that you can easily copy-paste into some other environment, be it culture or media or whatever. My first idea about, let's say, innovation would be Vest.si, in a way, but which is also a product of very specific series of events, because some people left other media and they needed to find their way into how to enter the media sphere with very little costs and to be very efficient, to use resources that were available, and they had to be innovative in a way.
So Vest.si is probably a good example of innovation. It was they brought the whole new concept of video on the internet, the concept that later was not really well adopted by the news. And Lenart, I would like to remind you of one innovation I was particularly happy about. You remember 10 years ago, Delo fax. It was I could read it in Brazil while I was traveling, so I found that innovative enough for me to. Well, that was time when while traveling, we were visiting cyber cafes and printing material, and at that time, Delo fax was quite an innovation for me. I could read it on a bus, printed on a paper. But then, I mean, I don't know whether Delo has really evolve in that matter, because now definitely internet is not just a channel to distribute the media. And perhaps Domen Savič, I'll ask you, well, newspapers are innovative, and do you see some innovation there? An example, we have one, Vest.si, and Domen, you will probably give us a very good example. I know you have very strong opinions on that.
Well, I guess I'll be the gloomy guy of the round table. I think that what Lenart said is a mild critic of the situation we have in Slovenia. Media on the internet, online media in Slovenia is not only lagging behind, but it's not moving at all. It's dead. It's dead in the water, because people in the media, in the let's say old media, although that separation between old and the new media is really unfair and really kind of silly, because we have the same content on different communication channels. This is still the same guys talking, only listening them on the FM frequency, you listen to them now in, I don't know, real audio stream. But it's still the same content, it's still the same message, and it's absolutely nothing innovative about that. Adopting technology shouldn't be a peak of a media house to push itself onto the market. They should think about new ideas for the content itself, not the delivery of content. So yeah, I think that the problem is that the development of online media in Slovenia usually relies on certain individuals who bring in certain ideas and then have to promote it, they have to fight for them within their own media house. Medias are people that work in media houses are usually very strict and very conservative about putting their content somewhere else or creating new type of content, and people that have ideas usually have to fight for them within the media house they're working in.
I do agree there is not a lot of innovation in the Slovenian media, but there is a need from the national public service broadcaster to put much more emphasis on it, because it's actually its role, and being public, they should take care more about the innovation, and we all should take care more about the innovation. There are some small parts that are not maybe that negative, but still, for example, we have, I'm sure you know, I mean, you who are from Slovenia, we do have multimedia center of the RTV Slovenia, who tries to innovate, but partially, and I'm sure people don't know much about that. So it's their fault, it's our fault, but also what I miss, I think on top corporate level, RTV Slovenia lacks the strategy how to deal with innovation and how to include different parts, television, radio and multimedia center in this process. And we do have quite a few individuals like Matej, for example, in the TV, in the radio, in the multimedia center, but it's not a common effort and it doesn't have the real effect. But still, there are some moves, there are some steps being done right now, and maybe let's say in 2 years, we'll have much more to show, or we'll have much more to talk about. But still, there's one thing we have to be aware of, and it's not all about new technologies. It's also about the innovation while producing topics, which we also have to take care. And we've been innovating quite a lot of things, but for specific particular platforms. It's linear FM, and I do agree with Mr. Savič saying, yes, these are the same guys talking on different platforms or channels. But okay, this is going to change. I'm sure it's going to change, particularly at the radio.
This raises attention to one more innovation I forgot to mention. That's Odprti Kop, exactly. Open Dig, that was developed by the founder of Zemanta, and this actually allows something that was unavailable until this solution. Most of what is said in the broadcasting is lost. You can find it on audio or video archives, but you can't find it in Google. So. But this Odprti Kop or Open Dig made it possible so that the transcripts are attached to the content and then can be easily it's easy to find them online. And Domen, I was hoping that you were tweeting about our conference. You were holding your mobile phone, and this is also a tool that might be handy. And we will talk about the tools for journalists now. But I would like to ask you a question on how is it at your media institutions, and Domen, and in your case this would be your ex-newsroom Dnevnik. and Lenart, Delo. How are programmers, or just for now, how is internet incorporated into your newsroom? Because I constantly have a feeling that it's still somewhat of a newsroom, not really there. I mean, who is it who writes for the internet, and why is it that normally it's not the journalists? And Lenart, why do you have to open your own blog to accumulate your stories? Why is that not possible at Delo?
I think that one of the most important reasons for that is that the newspapers never really got it when it comes to the internet, because most successful attempts were pretty simple. They started like 5 or 6 years ago, and then the newspaper would say, okay, we're losing the readers, that's inevitable. Our printing editions are declining, it's also inevitable. But we're still producing content, we're still a strong brand. So we cannot really separate our content from how to distribute it. And the editors from, let's say, the New York Times or the Guardian or the Times, they said, well, if I'm the editor-in-chief of this newspaper, first I have to know what's in my newspaper, what my journalists are working on, what are the stories, what are the topics. And then I have to find the most efficient way to actually package and give this content to my readers, which are not only my subscribers, but whoever wants to read or access this content. And from this point of view, internet is, I hate this word, but it's integrated in the process, because you cannot separate what you do on the internet and what you do when you print a newspaper or what you tweet or whatever. So there can be no separation between what's online content, what's offline content, what's editorial, what's not editorial. What we did in Slovenia, I think in most of cases, we never really got this idea, because we just started from this, well, everybody has the internet, so we also have to have it. And what we did is we bought it, or we built it, like there's a newspaper which also have something online. Different people, different ideas, understaffed, underpaid, no clear strategy. So what happened was that there was still a newspaper, it was one product, and there was a room with people doing the online edition who had no contact with premium authors. They were not in a position to say, well, we need a comment on that. And there was no way for forcing your premium author on whatever topic you have to actually write exclusively from the internet. So in a couple of years, or even sooner than that, what happened was that online editions were only a sort of a mixture of bridged content from the newspaper and a lot of stuff from the agencies, just briefly translated.